These are sports that they have little interest in and you have no time for. Get outdoors together, walk, hike, or ride bikes. Model healthy coping strategies like meditation, prayer, healthy eating, and sticking to a regular bedtime routine. Keep an eye out for sudden changes in behavior and educate yourself about symptoms of anxiety and depression. And finally, never be afraid or embarrassed to seek professional help if concerning behaviors begin surfacing as the school year unfolds.
For questions or more resources, text 258-1029.
Hey everyone, it's your host for the World Beat Show, Scott Duran, and I want you to join me every Saturday at 11 a.m., where I take you on a journey around the world and show you traditional and modern style world beat music. Music from Africa, Spain, France, Japan, China, heck, even songs and artists from the United States itself. So join me every Saturday at 11 a.m. only on the KSJE 90.9 FM.
The material discussed in this program is for information purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a recommendation for investing or as legal advice. Each person has his or her specific situation, circumstance, and objective, and should consult their own personal advisor or counsel. Thursday morning here on KSJE, and it's time to check in with Jason Calcote from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation to see how the economy is doing this week. Jason, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here, and what's the latest? How are we doing?
Well, we've got our third quarter earnings
Right.
that have been coming out recently.
Okay,
so
sure.
that's the big news domestically. Kind of a mixed bag.
Right.
It usually is.
And this is the idea where the companies predict how they're going to do, and then they actually release how they did,
Right.
and whether or not they're close or not then determines what the stock market and investors feel like they are talking about.
That's exactly right. You've got analysts that are projecting on how they're going to do, and
Right.
then whether they miss the mark, whether it's above or below that analyst mark. Typically will move the share price pretty big when
Right.
those earnings reports come out. So U.S. stocks ended a little bit down on Tuesday to start the week. Some notable movers. Facebook was one that fell about 4%. And they're kind of finding themselves in hot water. They have recently.
What? Facebook?
Yeah.
What? How could they be do anything wrong?
I
But yes,
know.
they are. You're right. They've had some troubles on Capitol Hill and
That's right.
And some other things too, right?
Yeah, a lot of data sensitivity. You know,
Sure.
all the users' data. They're really getting looked at hard on whether or not they're putting that data at risk, and then pushing up the advertising rates as well. So kind of exactly like you said, some stuff getting in trouble with Congress.
Right.
Kind of having to face the music right now.
There's privacy issues. There's concerns that because of their dominance over the online ad business, them and Google, I think that is causing a lot of scrutiny.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
okay.
So finding themselves in a little bit of hot water right now. Hasbro is another one, big mover. They fell almost 17%. The profits really missed the mark, and their profits have really been squeezed by the tariff war. You know, this trade dispute with China. The Hasbro's really starting to feel it.
This is the toy company.
That's right.
But they may have a lot of manufacturing in China. Is that what
Well, and then we're talking about
problem is?
the Chinese imports of U.S. goods. So a
They're
lot
not
of toys that
importing
are
as
coming
much.
in. Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
So really taking a hit there. Another one that's kind of been in the news a lot recently is Boeing. If you
Right,
remember
yeah.
the 737 MAX had all those issues a little while back now.
Sure. Still grounded.
Still grounded, but they did come out and say that their plans on making the 737 MAX at its current rate for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So they're going to keep going with that. But then they also came out and said that they announced the departure of the executive in charge of the commercial planes.
Oh.
So we've got a shakeup at the top, but they're still trying to stay on course manufacturing these new planes. Hopefully they got the software glitch fixed.
Right.
But again, kind of a mixed report from them, and it resulted in them staying pretty flat for the most part. They were up and down, kind of had a roller coaster day.
Okay.
The past 2 days, really.
Right. Interesting.
And then on the flip side of that, we talked about a couple of ones that were down.
Right.
Biogen came out, the drug maker Biogen, and announced that they would seek U.S. approval for a previously abandoned Alzheimer's treatment. So really positive news from them. Their shares surged about 26% on that news.
Right. Okay.
And hopefully making some headway on a disease that affects everybody, or somebody.
A lot of people.
Yeah,
That's true.
Everybody
And-
knows somebody that's
Right.
affected by that.
And I think the idea is that this drug may slow the effects of Alzheimer's. That is at least what I had heard about.
Yep.
Some of the things that they had discovered about it. Maybe.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And I think they abandoned the venue for a little while, but now they're kind of revisiting that approach. And,
Right.
hopefully something positive in that respect.
Sure. Very good. Okay. Excellent.
So then that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday, we had the markets moving again. So if we've got some charts.
I can show charts.
All
That's
right.
the Dow Jones.
Okay,
Right?
so the Dow was up about 0.2%, not a whole lot yesterday.
Okay.
But the interesting things to note are year over year, which
is what we're showing.
Yep, this chart shows we're up about 11.8%.
Okay.
So doing really well, and then year to date we're up about 15%. So. Despite all the stuff that's going on, in the geopolitical scene, domestically, the markets are performing well. The S&P,
That one?
yeah, that one. We got up about 0.3% yesterday on the earnings reports, 15.4% year over year.
Okay.
So again, doing really well. And then year to date, we're up almost 20% on that one.
Okay.
And it's down about 1% from the record it set in July.
Right.
And then the NASDAQ, we're up about 0.2% again, about 15.5% year over year, and up actually 22.4% year to date. So,
Wow.
So some really strong gains from the index perspective.
Sure.
The market as a whole has been performing really well year over year. We had that stumble in the fourth quarter last year, but that's a bump in the rearview mirror now if you stayed your course.
We can see it on the
Right.
chart,
Oh,
but
you
yeah,
can see
we're
it.
certainly above where that was for sure. So that's true, and that's why you keep telling us to look at the long-term picture, right?
Right.
If you're investing in the markets.
Yep.
So that's-
Have a strategy that's you're okay with, you're comfortable with, and stay the course.
Right.
So, anyways, we had some more announcements come out on Wednesday. These gains really in the markets came despite lower than expected earnings from Caterpillar. Again, heavy machinery being affected by the trade dispute with China. And then really weak results from Texas Instruments was another one, down 17.5%. A lot of people think calculators.
Right.
You think TI.
Right.
But they're really a lot more. And
Yeah.
you can actually look at them as a proxy for the microchip industry as a whole.
Okay.
So to kind of see how that industry is doing, you could look at Texas Instruments and gauge the performance of the whole sector from there.
Interesting, because that affects like Intel and some of the other companies too, right? That are in that line of work. So.
Exactly right. So, we had some weak results from some major companies, but as a whole, the third quarter earnings season was largely topped analyst expectations. Of the 500 S&P companies, we got 500 companies listed on the S&P, 81% have posted better than expected results.
Well, that sounds good.
So some big names stumbled, but as a whole, again, domestically, we're looking pretty solid.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So now, really, what's going to happen next? We've got the Fed meeting next week.
Okay.
So they're going to really digest these earnings to see how the economy is doing as a whole, and everybody's expecting them to cut rates again. So we'll be on the lookout for that. That's the next thing to look for.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oil and gas before we go.
Oil and
What does
gas,
it
of
look like?
course. Oil, we're still hanging around that mid-50s mark. It's at 56.20 a barrel. So really haven't broken that $60 plane in a while now, but we haven't dipped below 50 either. We're kind of hanging in that okay zone. I think everybody here would like it to see go up a little bit.
Sure.
Natural gas.
But despite what's going on worldwide, it just seems like it could be a lot more volatile than it is, the price, I mean.
Exactly. It has been fairly stable,
Yeah.
considering what has been going on, all the unrest over in the Persian Peninsula, and all that
Sure.
good stuff.
Natural gas, you're about to say.
Natural
and I
gas,
interrupted
yeah.
you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're getting a little colder now, so
Yes,
we're
right.
starting to see an uptick on that just a little bit. We're at about 230 right now.
Okay.
So we'd like to see that continue climbing and hopefully get around that $3 range as we head into the winter.
Got a ways to
months.
go
It has a ways to
at
go.
2:30, but maybe we'll get there.
Maybe we'll get there.
Okay.
Pray for a cold snap.
Right.
And then, if everything makes you so nervous you can't even stomach it, we've got gold.
Yes.
That's still hanging around about $1,500 an ounce. So it's kind of been bouncing back and forth as well, but hanging around that 1,500 range.
Okay.
So fairly stable.
All right. Interesting. Very good. Jason, thanks so much for the
Hey,
update.
thanks for having me.
Appreciate it very much. That's Jason Calcote, everyone, from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation, my guest here on KSJE Farmington. 8:59 on KSJE, taking another quick look at the weather forecast before we go today. A windy but sunny day in store for us today. 53 for a high in Farmington. Clear and 24 tonight. Sunny and a bit warmer on Friday with a high of 58 tomorrow. 65 with sunshine on Saturday and 70 and sunny on Sunday before another cold front moves through with a high of 51 on Monday, 47 on Tuesday, and even colder on Wednesday with a high of only 44 degrees. This is KSJE Farmington, New Mexico, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners, supported by people like you. KSJE is member supported. good. So we encourage you to go online to our website, ksje.com/support, and see how you can support this radio station and pick the membership plan that works best for your budget. I'm Scott Micklin. Have a great Thursday, everyone. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, beginning at 8 a.m. on KSJE.
Robots the size of blood cells, Earth-like planets,